News. If at one point you decided to take control of your personal finances and went straight to YouTube for guidance, you probably ended up finding a certain YouTuber with millions of followers. This guy dropped out of school, went into real estate, made some money, then started telling people how he made a lot of money, and ended up making even more money that way than in real estate. Bruh. Of course I'm talking about Robert Kiyosaki, author of the best-selling book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I was deeply influenced by this book in high school. But as he wrote more and more, I couldn't help but think that he was really more focused on wealth creation by selling books than utilizing the tactics that he was actually preaching. He reeled people in with his advice about accumulating assets so that your money could work for you. But leading into the peak of the housing boom, he fully exploited his followers by offering super expensive courses teaching how to buy houses with no money down. By 2008, I thought he was at least partially responsible for the real estate bubble, since it seems like everyone and their grandmother were trying out his tactics. Today, he's still out there selling courses, but embarrassingly, the Rich Dad company declared bankruptcy earlier this year, and he goes on these insane rants about how school is evil. While he's still rich, he's definitely less relevant, and a lot of people have lost respect for him. But let's switch over to that other guy I was talking about earlier, Stephan. He is the Robert Kiyosaki of this generation. But there are some key differences that made him the champion of personal finance gurus on YouTube with his 2.4 million followers. First, he gained a reputation as being completely transparent and open about his own finances, revealing things like his net worth and what he spends or doesn't spend his money on. And second, he is brutally honest about how even though most of his cash is in stocks and real estate, he makes way more on YouTube. He also sells a course, although he's not in your face about it. It's refreshing to see a relatively young guy explain every detail about how he made it to where he is, when previous gurus were hyper-focused on ramming you through their sales funnel till you bought a course. Here's the real problem I see with today's breed of financial gurus. They've added a layer of transparency, which ironically disguises the fact that they're still ramming you through their sales funnel. Their sales conversions are more reliant on video click-through rates and retention times instead of getting you to sign up for their courses. That's why Graham's channel is largely loaded with clickbaity videos where he prognosticates for 15 minutes before concluding with something like,
"No one knows what the markets are going to be doing a week, a month, or a year from now, so just don't listen to it and just continue investing."
These channels preach to the lowest common denominator because YouTube rewards them for it. They seek to boost that click-through rate and retention time because it increases their ad revenue. So the best way to do that is to craft vague advice for as large an audience as possible. So the more successful they become, the less useful their advice is to you. Wait, but Derek, what is your point? I think there's a lurking danger here. Just like 2008, I'm getting these vibes that financial gurus commanding their disciples to use the same tactics everywhere will lead to some dangerous market outcomes. Although the lending environment and pandemic set the stage for certain market behaviors, it's financial gurus who popularize and proliferate successful tactics until they don't work anymore. And you should be especially wary if the gurus stopped doing these tactics themselves and started spending more time preaching on YouTube. Think of it this way. Do you think it's better to buy into a stock when everyone has realized that it's undervalued and started buying it? Or do you think the returns would have been better for you before they made the videos about it with hundreds of thousands of views? Herd mentality in the real estate market is similarly dangerous. In 2008, the non-existing lending restrictions enabled no money down home buying, but financial gurus provided the instruction manual to millions of hopeful speculators. Today, we're in the middle of one of the biggest economic shocks in history. A lot of housing markets are trading at all-time highs, but millions can't pay rent and might get evicted. Do you think it's safe to use pre-COVID investment tactics that all these gurus are preaching? Actually, they're just saying,
even though national trends can have a small influence on price, it is not the end-all be-all. Instead, all you need to really know is that you only buy a home that you could afford, that you intend to live in long-term without selling.
Hold up. Derek, aren't you teaching noobs on YouTube too? Alright, how's this for transparency? I'm not really here to teach you noobs. This channel is about branding YD development. Anything you learn about real estate here is really a side effect of my awesome branding. But just like all these other YouTubers, I'm still incentivized to yell at you to click that like and subscribe button. You like how I worked that one in there? As we cross 500 subs, let me reiterate that this channel will always be about our company mission to evolve how real estate development is done. We are incorporating the latest prop tech to build the coolest spaces more efficiently. It's not an easy path to take, and trying new things in real estate that the gurus don't talk about is not an easy path for noobs to follow. But I figured if we shared our journey, more developers will hop on the prop tech bandwagon. And that's really what will evolve this industry to efficiently create more and better housing at affordable prices for everyone. Real estate's evolution is our revolution. On the topic of 500 subs, I promise to reveal for what I'll reveal
At 1,000 subs,
Ready? At 1,000 subs, I will introduce
one of our employees.
Let me end with another womb. Go ahead and read Rich Dad Poor Dad and see for yourself what propelled Robert Kiyosaki to fame. You'll realize that both he and Graham are phenomenal salesmen above all else. Let me go 2 levels deep in transparency for those who made it this far into the video in search of personal financial advice. There are only 2 fundamental principles that Kiyosaki built a teaching empire out of. Number 1, save money by avoiding buying depreciable assets or liabilities. Number 2, use that money to buy appreciable assets. Everything else in all his books is basically an extension of that. But what you can do with it is largely dependent on your own circumstance and the opportunities that may or may not arise from it. And chances are, your circumstances are nothing like Graham Stephan's, and you won't be able to replicate it no matter how transparent he is. Unless your name is Meet Kevin. By the way, guys, I'm launching a course, and it's only 10 grand for the first lesson. You can pay in installments. I'm just messing with you.